Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, MSP Dashboards that Deliver, HaloPSA and SquaredUp in Action. My name is Georgia Howlett and I'm the Channel Sales Manager here at SquaredUp, and we're absolutely thrilled to have you all join us today. We've had over 200 MSPs register for this session, which is super exciting and shows just how much interest there is in making operational intelligence a key priority. So just some quick housekeeping before we dive in. This webinar is being recorded and we'll send out a follow-up email after the session with the recording link and any additional resources. There is a Q&A chat function at the bottom. It just says Q&A. Feel free to drop any questions into the chat as we go. We'll be hosting a live Q&A panel at the end in which I'll be reading out the questions and directing them at our co-hosts. So if there is anything that pops up during the session, feel free to pop it in there. So the agenda, what will we be covering today? So today's session is all about helping you to save time and increase profit. You'll hear from both Halo and SquaredUp teams, see a live demo and get a real world perspective from SquaredUp's customer AxioTech on how they're using the product to transform reporting and service delivery with our HaloPSA integration. And presenters wise, we have myself as your host. We have Morgan Aspinall, who's the head of product at HaloPSA, who we'll hear from very shortly. We have Richard Benwell, who's our CEO and founder at SquaredUp. We have Dan Watts, our developer relations engineer. And last but not least, we have Rob Brewer, who is the CEO of AxioTech and the customer case study that I mentioned earlier. So lots of exciting content to cover. Let's get started. First up, over to Morgan to introduce HaloPSA.
Thanks, Georgia. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining today. It's a good turnout. Yeah, 200 is a decent number of attendees. So yeah, pleased to see there's a lot of interest in this integration. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Halo, the first thing that I'll mention is that Halo has actually been around for quite a while. So Georgia, if you could just hop onto the next slide, please. Yeah, the first point that I mentioned that comes as quite of a surprise to people is Halo's been around for a very long time. You can see there we actually hired our first employee in 2007, and really between sort of 2007 and sort of 2019, we were just petering along, just sort of sustaining a relatively humble level of growth, running a Windows-based help desk application, formerly called Net Help Desk. So some of you may be familiar. And then it was around about 2019 that we took the opportunity to take that Windows-based help desk application, take everything that we learned from it, but throw it away and start fresh with Halo. And that is the web-based platform that you'll be seeing in a few moments. And now, over the sort of the 5 or so years that I've been at Halo since around 2020, we have really gone from stride to stride. When I joined, we had one tiny little office in the UK and a couple of satellite offices in the US, and we've now got a sort of global team of over 250 staff. So the growth is not just in terms of the platform, but in terms of the company itself. Now, talking about the platform, there is only one thing that we implement, sell, support, deliver here at Halo, and that is the Halo platform. We like to keep things simple. However, that platform is diverse enough to satisfy a variety of different markets, and we have sort of currently segregated those out into 3 core offerings. So, of course, there's HaloPSA that's targeted for the MSP market. There's also Halo ITSM that is centered more around the enterprise and sort of internal IT teams. And then more recently, as of last year, Halo CRM that's tailored more for customer service teams and B2C setups. Now, in terms of the platform itself, in terms of HaloPSA, we are talking about a fully fledged PSA platform, and I'll be covering some of the high level topics today. But everything that you would expect from a full PSA, all the way from sort of email campaigns and e-signing of proposals, all the way through to automated billing for the services that you deliver, and of course, everything in between. And everything that you see there on the screen and more is included in your single subscription fee that you would pay per license. So again, you know, two of Halo's core tenets here are around simplicity and transparency. And I think that is highlighted quite nicely in our pricing structure, and how, you know, if you want to enable change management, you can just enable the change management module. You don't have to pay an arm and a leg to have someone implement that for you. It is as simple as turning the button on, configuring a few steps, but you know, it's all there at your fingertips. And I'll hand over to SquaredUp in a moment, but I just want to highlight that, you know, the strength of the partnership here, in my opinion, comes from the versatility of the Halo platform and the amount of data points that you are able to track, configure, and manage. And when working with a platform like SquaredUp, you have an incredible opportunity to aggregate that data and present it in a way that is meaningful to you and to your teams. And without further ado, I'll hand over to Richard and the SquaredUp team to tell a little bit about them.
Brilliant, that was great. Thank you so much, Morgan. So the common theme around today is that modern and successful MSPs aren't waiting for problems to happen. They're able and have the tools that they need to be able to anticipate them. And they use real-time data to stay ahead, not just react. And that's really where the partnership for Halo and SquaredUp comes in. So without further ado, over to SquaredUp's CEO and founder, Richard Benwell, to talk to you a little bit more about SquaredUp. Over to you, Richard.
Thanks, Georgia. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, as Georgia said, for MSPs to become proactive and just move from this sort of reactive state of being on the back foot, not necessarily knowing what's happening, they really need to understand everything that's going on in their systems and in their business. Be able to see the state of play, be able to understand changes, spot trends, you know, be alerted to issues before they impact customers. But here's the challenge with so many tools in play, and even just Morgan's slide there of Halo with so many different modules in Halo, that there's a lot going on, and that's just in Halo. Beyond Halo, you're going to have those monitoring and management tools for other systems and all of the services you offer your clients. So the real challenge is to get visibility across all of these tools and in a way that's easy to understand. And that's what we do at SquaredUp, a modern dashboard that plugs into the APIs of over 60 tools, including Halo, and bring them all into one single unified view. We've got a fantastic demo coming up soon from Dan and Morgan. But before we get into that, I just wanted to introduce SquaredUp. You may not have heard of SquaredUp before. And actually, just checking out the slide, you'll see it reflects a little bit Morgan's slide on Halo. We have been around for a long time, founded in 2011, and through profitable growth have stayed privately owned since then. You know, growing to over 80 employees across the UK, where we're headquartered and have our engineering team, with hubs in the USA, in Boston, which is where I'm based, and India as well. So we started out back in 2011, focusing on the Microsoft ecosystem. So we built dashboards for a tool called Microsoft System Center Operations Manager, which is used by enterprises worldwide for monitoring their enterprise IT infrastructure. And since then, we've built our next generation product, SquaredUp Cloud, which then plugs into literally everything, really to be the definitive single pane of glass for any data, any tools you want to see in one place. So across that SCOM product and our cloud product, we've got a global customer base of hundreds of enterprises and MSPs, from brands such as McLaren, like Halo as well, all the way to the United Nations using SquaredUp. We're passionate about dashboards. Hopefully that comes across, but we're also passionate about building a better type of business. Earlier this year, we were super proud to have achieved a B Corp certification. So B Corp is something that you might be used to seeing on your packs of coffee beans, or maybe the Patagonia fleeces you buy, or the ice cream from Ben & Jerry's. But we are applying those same B Corp principles within the software industry. So really holding ourselves to like this highest standards of ethical business practices. And that translates into also how we look after our people and our customers. So we're being ranked top 10 great place to work for mid-sized businesses in the UK. And we aim to deliver the best possible customer service for our customers as well. Coming back to the topic of today's webinar, we're driven by one simple motivation, and that is that in today's modern digital world, we're all drowning in data and starved of information. So yeah, today is the focus. The focus is our integration with HaloPSA. In particular, I'm really super excited to be showing off what we've built. Not only is Halo one of the hottest PSA tools out there right now in the market, but also, as Morgan alluded to, you know, their approach to business, their sort of fair and open approach to pricing and how they interact with their customers really stood out to us, and we're sort of super excited to be working with them. This integration has come from a really close working relationship with Halo, and actually I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Morgan and the team at Halo for being such a great partner in this initiative. Hopefully you'll like what you see, but really this is also just the start of what we'll do working with Halo and the guys there. With SquaredUp and with this integration with Halo, we've focused on one simple thing, which is just being the best dashboard for HaloPSA. So 4 things I just wanted to highlight before we get into the demo. Instant setup. So you connect to your HaloPSA environment. There's no coding needed, just sort of plug in to the API and you'll be ready to go with surfacing data from Halo into your dashboards. Super customizable visualization. So we know that every business is different. What you want to see is different. There's sort of different business context. There may even be different data you want to combine together with your HaloPSA data. So we make it really, really easy to customize. Again, a very kind of low code approach to building dashboards with SquaredUp. Because we connect directly to the API, all of the data you see in SquaredUp is live. So it's really low maintenance. There's no data imports to maintain or some make sure are working. If you're connected to Halo, all of that data in Halo and those other tools you're connected to come straight into your dashboard. So every time you look at that dashboard, you're looking at that live data from Halo, the very, very latest business or technical data. And lastly, really easy to share. So we know that these dashboards are not just for maybe sort of kind of you as a sort of in a management or owner role within your MSP, but for your team, for your operations and your insights there, but also for your clients. So you can share these dashboards to wall boards across internal teams, but also securely out to your clients if you want to give them visibility of certain aspects of your business and their services. So those are the 4 pieces I just want to highlight. I think it's over to the guys for a demo.
Cool, thanks, Richard. Yeah, and yeah, just echoing what you're saying there. It doesn't feel like it's just been an integration. It feels like more of a partnership, aligned from not just a technological perspective, but philosophical as well. And yeah, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to spend a few minutes again to those people that aren't too familiar with Halo to go over some of the broad strokes about what you can do in Halo. So I was just thinking about sort of following the journey of a ticket. So I'll share my screen very quickly. Hopefully everybody can see that. Cool. Yeah, so the first point, we'll go through the journey of a ticket, and we'll start by logging a ticket from the self-service portal. And this touches on one of the points that I made a few moments ago when I said that it's a single platform that we're selling and developing on here at Halo, the Halo platform. And so what that means is if you're interested or if you have HaloPSA, you have not only the development efforts of the HaloPSA team, but you also have all of the features and development efforts of the entire enterprise development team that we have as well. And one of the most stark examples of the benefits that you can get there is from the self-service portal here. So, you know, this is we're talking about an enterprise grade self-service portal that is just included as standard as part of your subscription with HaloPSA. And so, yeah, here we are. This is where your end users would go to sort of check in on tickets, log tickets themselves, request any of the services that you have available. And yeah, this is where we'll start. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the homepage and we'll just report an issue. So we'll say my laptop's on fire. And now, as we're going through this, I also want you to keep in the back of your mind just how flexible and configurable the platform is in terms of everything that we see on the screen here, the information that is presented in terms of impact, urgency, assets, all of these data points are all determined by yourselves, and you can customize these. And furthermore, you can have certain fields presented or not based on the value of other fields being entered. So what you can do with this self-service portal experience is really drive your end users through that logging process, ensuring that they're filling out the relevant bits of information that you need only when they need to fill them out, right? So, you know, a good example might be if you have a new starter request, if that new starter requires hardware, there might be a checkbox, hardware required. And only if that checkbox is checked are we going to have all of the bits of information that are relevant to what type of hardware is required. So again, fully dynamic, this page, and allows you to capture the information that you need. So go down here. Now, simple as that. As the end user, I now get to sort of check in on that ticket. And from here, we're going to hop over to the agent side. So this is where you, the MSP, this is where your team are going to be logging in on a day-to-day basis. This is where they're going to be sending those quotes from, resolving those tickets, generating those invoices, and sort of everything in between. Again, what we're looking at here on the home screen itself is a dashboard. Topical, I know. And the dashboard that we have here is also fully configurable based on any reports that you have in Halo, or even any configurable ticket lists, which we'll take a look at right now. So we logged our incident, so we'll hop into the service desk area, and we will see down here, my laptop's on fire. So we've got a new ticket that's come in. Now, again, the screen that we're looking at here is also fully configurable. And just to sort of show you what I mean by that, this main list that we have here, this is of course our ticket list, and presents the tickets that are based on the different views that we have in here by our different agents. I might want to show or hide some of these columns or move them around. That is a simple exercise of clicking the three dots up top and editing my columns. And we'll see here, I might want to move my ticket type all the way to the left, and I might want to add a new field in where it's going to be one of these dozens, if not hundreds at this point, of fields. So, I mean, let's just throw anything on there. Let's just throw category on, just as an example. Save that, save that. And you'll see now, after a quick refresh, our columns have been moved around. The time taken is now all the way over there on the left, and the category is all the way over on the right. So again, you have complete agency in Halo over not only what information you are capturing at a given point in time, but at what point in time and where in the platform do you want that information to be presented. You know, a fantastic example of that is, this is of course our service desk area. However, if I go to my sales area, I have a very different experience. Here, we have a sort of pipe drive-esque Kanban board where we can move our ops between the different pipeline stages that they exist in. And yeah, so again, the areas in Halo can be tailored to show exactly what you want and show that information exactly how you want it to be shown. So clicking into that ticket, this is what we're looking at here. This is the ticket screen, and I kind of like to break this screen down into four main sections. First and foremost, we've got our progress pane here. So this is where we've got all of our internal and external correspondence on the ticket, all of that information that's sort of driving us towards ticket resolution, including here our AI-powered triage. On the right-hand side, we've got our sort of miscellaneous ticket information. What type of ticket are we dealing with right now? Who is it currently assigned to? What's its current status? To the right of that, we have our end user details, where we've got clickable links to the user, the site / physical location that they reside in, and the customer that they are a member of, all the way through to other open tickets for the customer in question, or even the user. So if someone logs a ticket, we can easily come in and have a look at any similar incidents that have been logged either by that same person or by other people at the client in question, to help quickly identify sort of problems that might be arising, as we speak. Cool. And then finally, we've got these buttons up top. Now, these buttons are referred to as actions in Halo and are incredibly powerful tools that you can use to drive the program, from sending an email to the end user, creating an appointment that syncs to Outlook, all the way through to queuing a PowerShell script or running an automation that goes off to 365 and does something. And yeah, everything in between. So incredibly versatile what these buttons can do. And finally, I want to highlight this little thing, a workflow. Now, a workflow in Halo is what is going to allow us to define what buttons are presented to us at a given point in time. And a good example of that is, of course, at the minute, we've got 4 buttons, one of them being triage. So I'll click that, and I'll have this information presented to me, pre-populated by the end user. But actually, we're going to say that their laptop being on fire is just media emergency. That is a controversial point, but I'll leave that up to your imagination. But the idea being, this information is pre-filled in. These fields that we see, again, are configurable on an instance by instance basis. So if your triage process captures some different bits of information, you have agency over putting that information right here. And then once I do triage the ticket, we'll see triage is no longer there and a different set of buttons appear. So what's happened there is our workflow, which if I just click on, has moved us from our entry point through to our next step. And what we're looking at here is effectively a visual drag and drop flowchart where we can build our processes out in Halo. So, we're really talking about a no-code drag and drop design to build exactly the process that you want to build. And as a quick anecdote, a customer that I work quite closely with said a couple of years ago now, they said they'd used the 2 other big PSA platforms in the space, not to name any names, and when using those, the process was prescribed to them as the MSP. They had to manage their process as a business to fit what the PSA told them they had to do. And then they moved to Halo, and as part of their onboarding, their consultant said, well, what do you want your process to be? And they found it somewhat a bit of a shock to the system, because they'd realized no one had ever actually asked them that. And it was a liberating experience for them. I think they would agree. But yeah, so again, no code, drag and drop design to build exactly the process that you want, and the opportunity at any point in that process to capture any of the data points that you are looking to capture, whether it's a drop down, a string, an integer, or even a table of information. That is all possible within Halo. So let's go ahead and close this off. We'll say laptop is no longer on fire. And what we'll do here, and also something that I want to highlight, is as we close this off, we'll see down here we have this little time take field, and we can see this is currently ticking up, and it's now ticked up to 2 minutes. Of course, this is incredibly important. You want to make sure that you and your team are accurately capturing the time serving your customers throughout the day. And with Halo, this timer is constantly ticking up in the background. The moment that you open a ticket, or the moment that you perform one of these actions, this timer can start firing off. So you don't have to remember how long it took to write an email or how long it took to do something. Halo's automatic timer is constantly ticking up in the background, making sure that you can accurately capture that time. And I do always like to say that in a perfect world, your team's entire day can be tracked in Halo automatically. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect world, but you can see the idea. If you're working in a somewhat linear sense and always in Halo, that time is always going to be tracked. And if you do go into another system for half an hour, or you need to come in and backdate some time, we can override this. So you don't have to worry about obeying the clock. You can override it if you need, but it's always there if you it's always there ticking up in the background. Cool. So we'll close that off. Nice and simple. Now, as I added that time, I added that against my remote support rate. So this is the sort of other side that I just wanted to quickly touch on. We'll see here, of course, based on the types of work that you'll give, the data points that you can see, so the category, the ticket type, the type of work that we're performing, the type of customer that we're doing the service for, all of that information can be evaluated at the point of any time entry being added into Halo. And as a result, Halo can automatically map that time to either be added towards an invoice, consumed by an agreement, or not billed at all. So we have a series of sort of billing rules in the background that allow us to define precisely what type of work is covered by a customer's agreement, and as such, what type of work is going to go on an invoice. Going on an invoice, well, where would we go to actually generate that invoice? Well, to do that, we hop over to our invoices module. Now, in the invoices module, I can go to my ready for invoicing section that is effectively an interactive dashboard of everything in Halo that can have an invoice generated for it, but does not yet have an invoice generated for it. Everything from our recurring invoices, which are effectively our agreements, all the way through to the labor that we have performed on tickets that is considered as being billable. I can come in here, I can filter by customer, I can filter by account manager, I can select the records that I want to generate my invoices for, either on a granular basis, or I can select everything up top, and then I can click create invoice. And in the background, that's going to go away. That's going to generate that invoice for me. And if we're integrated with an accounting package, maybe QuickBooks Online, Xero, Sage, something like that, that is going to automatically send that invoice over to our accounting tool. And here we go. Invoice has been generated, service has been delivered, laptop has been extinguished, and everyone's happy. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. I mean, I could talk about Halo for hours, but appreciate we're really here to see about the next piece. So without further ado, I will stop sharing and hand it over to Dan for the second component.
Cool, thanks, Morgan. Yeah, it's really easy to see why so many people choose Halo to streamline their business operations and automate a bunch of those use cases. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. That should be popping up any second. Cool, seeing some nods, great. So what we're looking at here now is SquaredUp. As Richard said earlier, this is our business intelligence and smart dashboarding platform with a Halo integration baked in, natively built by us, with a bunch of out-of-the-box dashboards and really easy to connect. It also allows you to sort of showcase and aggregate data among all of those other data sources that we have. What you're looking at here is a very quite general HaloPSA dashboard, and this is powered by our HaloPSA data source, which is, as you can see, is connected down here in the bottom left, or on the left side of the screen. Just to walk you through this dashboard, what you're sort of seeing, obviously we've got a nice HaloPSA logo just to showcase what the dashboard is. And then moving on from there, we've got things like order destinations for assets, open tickets, the ticket list as well. We can even see the laptop that was on fire has now been closed. So just showcases how real time these dashboards are. As Morgan was doing that, I saw that status change. We've also got things like customer satisfaction, which is powered by the Halo report system, which we'll dive into a little bit more a bit later. And we've also got our finance and general sales data from Halo as well. So this is a real sort of buffet of Halo data right here from all sorts of different places. like I said, this is all powered by our HaloPSA data source, essentially our HaloPSA plugin. If I jumped into this little sort of plus add data source button on the left-hand side, this will take you over to our data source library. As you can see, there's tons of tools in here, but if I search for Halo, we've got HaloPSA by SquaredUp. We've also got a couple that are already connected. So let's say someone else in your organization had already connected Halo and you just want to build a new set of dashboards. You don't have to re-add Halo yet again for that new set of dashboards or for a new customer. If I click on HaloPSA, you can see it's really easy to connect to Halo. All it really needs is a set of client credentials and an API agent, and it's only read-only permissions. We don't need any invasive sort of write permissions or all permissions, and that is literally it. So there's no data warehousing. There's no separate database to be managed. It's all just two fields essentially from Halo that you can generate in Halo and your server URL. There's also a nice sort of doc guide on how to do that. If I was going to add a new Halo instance, I'd hit test and add, and it hands-hold you through the process. There's a whole testing suite to make sure you haven't messed up any permissions or anything like that. It's really hard to get wrong, basically, I'll say. So jumping back, once we've got Halo connected, this is what you'll see. So if you were to jump onto SquaredUp and connect your Halo instance, this is what you'll see. So we essentially do what's called an index. So we'll grab all of the objects. In this case, it's our list of clients from Halo. This can vary from integration to integration, but for Halo, it's clients. We use this list of clients in this case to be able to provide data streams. So these are very drag and drop, easy to use, no code metrics that you can use straight out of the box. They don't need a prior report in Halo unless, of course, you're pulling from a report. And they don't need, like I said, a separate database connection or a query to be written. We also have a bunch of out-of-the-box dashboards. These are on this particular screen once you've added Halo. But as you can see, they're also accessible in the drop-down. Once you connect Halo, it might look like this, but if you hover over it, there's a little drop-down where you can jump over to, for example, our out-of-the-box tickets KPI dashboard. So we've got one ticket in the last 7 days, which is, I think, the laptop on fire. But if I expand this out to this year, we get a little bit more data. So that kind of showcases how these dashboards are quite fluid and they're real time in the sense that you can dynamically change the time frame associated with each of these dashboards, and it will automatically pull through the relevant data from Halo or whatever tool you're using. You can also sort of see by clicking on one of these, I can open up the tile and then drill down into the raw data here as well. So I can see what is sort of behind each of these tiles and make a change or just look at a bit more into a particular ticket. Once I'm happy with this, I can copy this dashboard up to my main list of dashboards, which is on the top left here. So as you can see, I've already done that for tickets KPI, so I've already got that dashboard in my list of dashboards. We've also got other dashboards, so we've got specific client dashboards. One of these is, again, tickets KPI, but this uses what we call a dashboard variable. So this, again, uses our list of clients that we pulled in earlier to provide essentially configurable dashboards out of the box. So I can choose SquaredUp as in this case, it would be our client. And we can see that in the last 7 days, we've got, one ticket, or over the last year, we've got a few tickets from SquaredUp. But if I wanted to dynamically switch over to a different client, for example, the dashboard would dynamically adapt. So I'll walk through some of the other dashboards that, I built really easily using these data streams. And I'll also in a second show how this data is actually added and configured. So again, I've jumped up to my main list of dashboards here in this Halo webinar workspace. Just to touch on workspaces, we have a drop down here where we have a bunch of essentially separate areas where you can share integrations between these areas, but essentially they're different lists of integrations, different lists of dashboards. And under the MSP use case, we typically see this as a workspace per customer generally. So it allows you to have separate data, essentially data segregation between these separate customers or clients that you set up. So jumping down into the finance use case, because obviously Halo is not just about tickets. The ticket system is great in Halo, but if we're talking about things like invoices, that is a use case that is covered as well. So this is again a fairly simple dashboard I've set up pretty quickly, but in the top half we can see data from our invoices over the last 30 days. As you can see, we've got 3 in draft and 3 unpaid, and that's all backed by this tile here. By the way, anything you see with essentially a hyperlink there will shoot off into Halo. So if I wanted to sort of get a deeper dive, or I'm not happy with a bit of data I've seen in SquaredUp, I can then click on one of these hyperlinks and it will take me out to Halo, where I can see and edit that associated data. We also do the same for quotes. So again, this gives you an idea as to what kind of data you can pull through from Halo. So we've got 7 total quotes. We can also filter by the status, by the assignee agent, the list as well. Again, we can jump into the specific quote here in the full list if we wanted to. So this would take us into Halo and into that specific quote. Jumping into my amounts dashboard here. Again, another pretty simple one, but it's more monetary. So I can sort of have a breakdown or a very easy visualization of, let's say over a given 30 days, how much have we pulled in from invoices or automatically generated invoices, and we can sort of have a nice visualization where it's broken down on a per client basis if we wanted to, or any other of the the fields in this massive list of data basically that is associated with invoices or quotes. So that, again, all of this is done with no code, no querying. These actually, what I've shown so far, don't require even any reports in Halo. It's all, I guess, sort of queryless and reportless, basically. But let's say we want to do something a little bit more custom. I've got an awesome report I always use all the time in Halo. Why wouldn't I use that? And that is fully supported. So if I jump into this report section, this dashboard's based off an SLA breached report, where we're understanding what tickets have breached their SLAs. This data is a little bit old, so yeah, I think I'd shout at my support team if they were 80 days over SLA or something. But as you can see, it kind of gives you an idea of not only do we have the raw data, we're able to break it down into who has tickets with SLA breached, how many over the given months or over a given time period do we have breached SLAs. So this is all about unlocking the reports that lie in your Halo data, and even aggregating them with any other tools you might be using. Jumping into this technicians dashboard as well. So again, this is based off of the reporting system in Halo, based off a simple sort of technician report, where you can see we've got a little bit of activity today, which was from me, from Morgan actually closing that laptop on fire ticket. Again, showing how sort of real time this data is. We can get an idea of what our technicians are doing over time, what their response rates are like per team, what the satisfaction score is per team. And actually, these two top and bottom tiles are from 2 separate reports. So if you wanted to sort of easily sort of smash 2 reports together from Halo, SquaredUp makes that really possible by just showcasing them on the same dashboard, or even aggregating them into a single report. We've also got things like sales data from reports. Again, we're able to see things like our top 5 most profitable customers and our least 5 in this case, again, giving us a bit of a breakdown per customer. We've also got things like sales pipelines. So again, just hitting home the fact it's not just ticket data. We can really pull through your sales data, any automations you've got through, and the data associated. And sort of future sales pipelines. Again, I think I'd be a bit upset if my future sales pipeline looked like this, but we've got the current date there pulled through for the current sales pipeline. One of the main strengths of SquaredUp as well is the data aggregation between the different data sources we have. So you'll notice in the bottom here we've got Halo connected, and the dashboards I've shown so far have been exclusively Halo. But any of the data I've shown on these tiles can be showcased alongside any other tools as well. So if I wanted to jump into something like cloud cost management, and let's say I'm an MSP that is kind of like a CSP where I'm managing Azure or any other of the cloud platforms for my customers, and then sort of managing that customer relationship and those business operations through Halo. this enables you to really sort of combine that data into a dashboard. So we've got our, this in this case could be for a specific customer, but we've got, what that customer is spending in Azure in this case. We've even got things like reservations and recommended savings. We've got a ton of MSP customers who use this kind of dashboard to offer things like a cost management service or something like that, where we can identify, in real time, just looking at their Azure tenant, for example, how much they could be saving over, a savings plan, and then sort of providing that value and sharing that dashboard out to those customers. As such, you can also combine on the same dashboard Halo data. So we've got relevant Halo tickets filtered down to a customer, and we've got things like a project overview. So let's say we're doing like a cost management or a cloud migration platform project. We can pull in the project data here as well. Let's say we're a different type of MSP. We're offering M365 license services or something like that. Again, we can use two integrations here to pull through our information from Halo. So what has been sold through Halo to a specific customer, in this case, it's Acorn Construction. We've understood we've sold 2 batches of license through to them, and we've got 15 open tickets or 15 historic tickets. I can then scroll down and see with our M365 integration, how many licenses have been assigned out of those that have been purchased. Are they, under provisioned, over provisioned? Are there licenses that are assigned but have never been used? So again, really enabling, as Georgia said earlier, trying to be really proactive in managing, the services you're offering to your customers as an MSP. So how can I add some data here? So if I edit this dashboard, like I said, we're kind of as low code as possible. I can just visually, drag the tiles around. I can, move things around by sort of dragging up the top here and making it very visual. If I wanted to then add some more data, I can just click an empty space on the dashboard where a new tile will appear. I'll resize this so it's slightly bigger, and then I'll click data. So I want to add some data. Again, I can choose from any of my connected plugins or data sources here. So I'll choose HaloPSA, where I'm presented with my list of data streams, sorry. So let's say I want to get some ticket data. So I can choose from any of these, including reports, which are automatically pulled through, but in this case, I'll choose tickets. This will then present me a list of objects to essentially put this data stream against. So we pulled in a list of clients automatically from Halo. I can choose, one or multiple of these, or I can even choose dynamic selection, which will just choose all of them, and will, in fact, if a new customer comes along, we'll add that new customer to the visualization already, without me having to do any intervention whatsoever. I then have some parameters where it's open tickets, closed tickets, all tickets. For now, I'll just choose open. I can also choose a time frame or no time frame if I just want to pull through everything, which I will do. At this point, I can choose a visualization. So, typically they come through as a table like this, and I might want to do a bit of grouping to get a nice visualization. So let's look at things like priority. So I can then group this data by priority, which is the priority field from Halo. It's automatically going to probably assume that I want the count of priorities, so basically the count of tickets and their priorities. And now I have a more simple sort of array of data. I can then choose a visualization or like a bar graph to choose, and I can do that over different fields. And this really happens for any type of data that's pulled through to SquaredUp. It's not limited to one data stream or even just Halo. You can just very visually change the data and manipulate the data to sort of visualize how you want it to be on a dashboard. I can also turn on some monitoring. So if I turned on monitoring here, I can say if there's any any group here of tickets greater than let's say like 20, so 20 open tickets with a priority, let's say, and then I save that. Very shortly on the dashboard, well, first of all, you'll see the new tile pop up here, but eventually it will turn red, which is indicating that our monitor is being breached. I can then go over to our monitor section where first of all, I'll see a summary of the monitors I've got in my current workspace, but then I'll also be able to add a notification rule. So I can send, as soon as that real-time data has been breached, or the status has been changed, I can send that automatically out to Slack, Teams, or even just a webhook. So if you're not using a tool in our pre-made or pre-baked integrations here, you can just send it out to a webhook. Again, this really empowers MSPs to be proactive, sorry, not reactive, to the data that's coming through. So you're alerted in real time. Lastly, if I wanted to sort of share this data out, so let's say I want to, I built a nice dashboard, I want to share it with my team or my customers. We have a nice sharing system up here where, first of all, it's SSO integrated. So if you're using Entra ID or something like that, you can pull through a list of users that way. And it works similar to like a Google Docs or a Microsoft Office, where you can just do a viewer, editor, full control type thing. Or I can have link sharing. So this is what we call open access links. They can be restricted to specific customers, for example, with email domains, or I can have it open to anyone. Once I share this link on, it kind of looks like this, where we've got a nice read-only view. It's still dynamic, so it still updates in real time, but it means I can share these on to my customers without them worrying about sort of moving this data around. It's important to note at this point, these read-only dashboards, they don't incur a license cost. The only license cost really is the people who are actually editing and making dashboards. So sharing these out to your customers incurs no license cost. So hopefully we showcased here, again, like Morgan said, I think we can go on for probably hours and hours on the feature set of SquaredUp, but hopefully that demo really showcased how easy it is to get connected to HaloPSA through SquaredUp, and how easy it is to get some data onto some dashboards. So yeah, thanks.
That's great. Thank you so much for the demo, Dan. And now I'm going to share my screen back out, and that should be working as of now. Perfect. And yeah, without further ado, I'm really excited to hand over to Rob Brewer, who is the CEO of AxioTech, to share exactly how they're using SquaredUp with HaloPSA to transform their reporting and service delivery. So thank you so much, Rob, for jumping on, and over to you to introduce AxioTech.
Absolutely. And thank you very much. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, all good.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I've been in this in and around this industry, starting off in telecom and moving into IT for about 25 years. AxioTech has existed since about 2015. It was the marriage between an audio video provider and MSP, because with audio video becoming more IP based, we were really kind of on the front end of that. That being said, we now have about 25 employees and about double that in contractors. We're located primarily in Texas. Our corporate office is in Fort Worth. But we operate all over the country through our satellite offices. Our primary focus is really on medical developers. We work a lot with hospitals, senior living, things in that space, building properties from the ground up, designing infrastructure, audio, video, and then providing support after the fact. That being said, we moved to Halo. Probably, I think we started our conversations in February of 23, and we were live within a month or two. Moving away from another very large provider that was great whenever we onboarded and we were small, but as they were acquired and went through several different growing pains, we decided they're no longer a proper fit for us. And so we made the jump to Halo and have been very happy. Our solutions are kind of across the board. Like I said, because we were an AV/MSP company, we do things all the way down to access control, physical security, security systems, camera systems, and then all the way into IT security and in the regular MSP and MSSP type of solutions. So we cover the gambit quite a bit. Next slide, please. So the challenges we had moving from from another provider over to Halo was with the amount of things that we do. We have many contractors, employees out in the field constantly doing project work, integrations, onboardings, things of that nature. So we had tons and tons of data. And whenever we started moving it all over into Halo, we quickly realized that there was a gap, being that we are not a data-driven shop. We don't have SQL people. We don't do, that's one of the gaps that we had in IT. Halo relies heavily on SQL queries, and we didn't have that expertise to generate the type of reporting that we previously were accustomed to. So we went a couple of years just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, just going by what we knew, and just luckily we've been in this business long enough where we were able to successfully do that, where a lot of people aren't. So we were very excited whenever we found SquaredUp and found the ability to bridge that gap between what we were used to and what we currently have. And so we quickly established a leadership team to start working with SquaredUp to integrate them into our data sets and start generating those reports that we had in the past. And some of it, to SquaredUp's credit, was not something that was out of the box for them. And I will tell you that they really worked hard during the integration to help us create what we were accustomed to and integrate, those custom data sets. So it's really been a great experience, and the team that I have working with their team has said nothing but great things. So I'm very happy with that experience. So the things that we really found that we needed, that we're missing, was that executive dashboard feeling, if you will. I've got management calls. I try to keep my calls down to a minimum. I follow the Elon Musk way of thinking, where too many meetings is a waste of time. So if it's not a meeting that provides an impact or a benefit to a customer or our organization, I nix it, right? So, and the ones that we do have, I want them to be as efficient as possible. So getting these executive dashboards back in place where I can quickly speak to my management team and walk them through what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what needs improvement, and then steps therefore is really important to us. So we've created some dashboards for our executive meetings. We've started to create dashboards for client insights for our customer QBRs, so we can look at what's working well, using the ITIL model, problem versus issue resolution, and we can really dig into tickets that are repetitive versus one-off issues. What's really important also is how that translates over to billing. We are able to track open tickets versus closed tickets versus billed tickets versus paid invoices. So we can walk that all the way through the life cycle of our billing experience, from our how many hours are going into a project versus how many were quoted, and taking it all the way to that profit loss scenario. And another thing that's really important there is SLAs. If there's other CEOs that are our size on this call, you just can't be in the ticketing system all day long. It's not realistic. It's nice to be able to just click on a button and see from a 10,000 foot view how your team's doing. How are they delivering on client satisfaction? What do they look like for their net promoter score? All those great things. So it's really helped us, in those four major points: management overview, customer insights, financial tracking, because there's nothing worse than doing something and not billing for it, right? And unfortunately, that is a reality if you don't have good visibility into there. I think we're ready for the next slide, please. So the experience of the SquaredUp team, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. We were, I think, kind of early adopters of this integration into Halo. And with that came some great challenges, and there was some great people that helped overcome it. I tell you, every week I would get an update on the dashboarding, because, like I said, it was very important to me. It was a big gap that we had felt with the loss of Bright Gauge. It was a big thing to overcome. And so the team that we assigned to do this integration was working weekly, if not daily, with the team, and they were constantly giving me feedback because I was constantly asking. And every day it was, hey, we ran into this, but I emailed them, they already emailed me back, we're working on it. And so it was always just knocking one issue out after another, moving on to another dashboard, finding the issues, knocking it out. And of course, there's also, a little bit extra, we're in Texas, right? So we speak a little bit different than people do in the UK. So our terminology is a little bit different. The fields are a little bit different. So we work together to overcome the language barrier of Halo as well. So it's a lot of fun stuff. If any of y'all are here in the US, I'm sure if you've looked at Halo, you've noticed that it's the English is a little bit different, but it is a great platform. We love it a lot. So they helped us overcome all that and bridge those gaps. And sorry, the comments are popping up. I keep seeing them. So they brought up earlier in the demo, I don't know if any of y'all caught it or saw how important that was, the drop down where they were able to build a framework for a dashboard and then select the drop down and click the customer. It is really helping my account management team with their not just giving us access to the data, but giving our clients access to the data. The ability to streamline QBRs and really showcase what we're doing well to our client base has really been awesome. So we've created those customer specific workspaces, and it's night and day. We used to have that a long time ago. We missed it a lot. We have it back. Super happy. KPI tracking is a must. You know, if you're not watching it, you can't improve it. It's not. It is what it is. The visibility into the system it makes that just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just imperative that you have it. If you don't see it today, if you're not using it today, and you want to grow, you got to have it. And they do a great job of making that visual and easy to digest. And I touched on a little bit earlier as well, you know, the web integration. There's a lot of different platforms that we use between marketing and sales. We have a lot of different pieces to the puzzle that fill very specific gaps. The web API has been really good at really grabbing stuff for the data cube and being able to pull that across, giving us visibility into multiple platforms. For example, our marketing platform. We use a very specific MSP-driven marketing platform that does mail drips and nurturing campaigns. And we were able to work with the web API to get a lot of that data to come over into our sales dashboards to show marketing initiatives into clients that we're currently going after, or also for account management, we're always marketing our other offerings into our client set, right? And it lets us look at, hey, who's consuming what, who's not consuming what, and allows us to kind of go through all of that. Next slide, please. Oh, I thought I had one more. All right, let's go.
I think that was it. Thank you, Rob. Is there any kind of final comments that you wanted to make, or were you done?
No, I would just like to say that you guys have really made my team happy, which makes me happy. We definitely do the reverse management stuff here at Axiotech. I'm at the bottom. So if whenever things are difficult for the guys in the field or for the managers, things trickle, to me. And I will tell you that when it came to this particular integration, almost nothing got escalated to me, which means everything was fantastic. I appreciate the partnership, and I'm excited to take it to the next level with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob. That was great, and really enjoying working with you. So by this point, you're probably thinking, hopefully you're ready to get started with Halo and SquaredUp, if not one already. So if you'd like to become a Halo customer, you can try their 30-day free trial at halopsa.com, or you can speak to this team via this email at sales@halopsa.com. And then in terms of SquaredUp, you can sign up to us. You can also activate your HaloPSA tool with our easy to use integration guides. And you can also book a call with our team. So there'll be links for all of these calls to action that will be sent out via the follow-up email. I know that unfortunately we've kind of reached time here in terms of coming to the end of the webinar. Lots of great value throughout, but I've seen that lots of questions have been answered live in the Q&A chat and also in the chat functionality itself. If we didn't get time to get round to your question today, then we're more than happy to answer it via email or also via a call as well. So yeah, in terms of finishing up then, all that's left to say is a huge thank you to everyone that has jumped on to the webinar. Really, really appreciate your time today and looking forward to working with lots of you in the future. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.